Tila MIera. Call me Tila. Yes, Mama? My mother's name? Maria Maria. I call her Mama. Maria, Tila, Domitila, MIera. Maria, Tila gets to labor en la tierra. Señorita MIera had no choice of what to do. After all, I was born in the year 1902. 1902, in the village of Taos, New Mexico Territory. It is 64 miles north of Santa Fe, which is 64 miles north of Albuquerque. They say it is 7,000 feet above the level of the ocean, but do not ask me how they figured that one out. All I know is that the air is so dry that you get nosebleeds all the time. And if you do not keep your tortillas covered, they... Speaking of tortillas, I was already making them by the time our territory became a state in 1912. Of course, my little brother Victor would disagree and tell you that the round, thin, white things I was making were crackers. They were crispy. What heavens, I was only 10 years old when our parents left me and Victor alone to ourselves during the day while they went to work way over in Arroyo Seco. I was in charge of taking care of him and the bread making. Late in the afternoon, when my parents and older brothers came home from working in the fields, Lino and Moises were hungrier and leaner than ever. They would grab my tortillas that I had been slaving on for 4 hours, break them, then eat them, then that they were choking and beg for water. One day they called my tortillas crackers one too many times. I ran out into the garden, and there, in between the rows of corn where no one but the angels could see me, I sank down to my knees, wishing to be bolder. I begged, dear Father, please, why could I not be older? That Lino and that Moises, they do taught me so. Their teasing and their voices are haunting me. Oh, I ask of you, my Father dear, I ask of you to interfere. And while I am in the garden, may I ask this question? Why do tortillas harden? I trust that you know best then. Mama must have told me the correct way to make them, but I fear that she will scold me and tell the boys to break them. Dear Padre, please listen, please, as I'm down here on my knees. I will drown here on my knees. I'm a clown here on my knees. Tears have never done me much good. Mama pities no one. So I pulled myself together and went back inside the house. I felt the same. Nothing was different. Nada. The next day, by the time I started making tortillas, and it was already getting late, and I expected my parents and my older brothers to come home in the wagon any minute. Victor, my tag-along, will tell you that the reason we got home so late from school, la escuela, was because we went home the long way through ranchitos to see and ride my best friend, Inés Palomino. She's selling her white Arabian, and I need a white horse. Anyway, I had to hurry, so I took great care to measure the ingredients without making a mistake. 6 cups flour, some salt, baking powder, manteca, lard, and water. I even washed my hands and kneaded the tortilla quickly. Victor, the stove is not hot enough! More wood! I rolled out each tortilla as if I were going to enter it in the state fair in Albuquerque. Our state did not have a fair then, but I like to pretend. As the last tortilla was cooking on the stove, I heard them coming, not wanting to be ridiculed again. I hid the tortilla tortillas in a folded towel made from a flour sack and got the heck out of the kitchen. Next thing I know, Nino yells, "Who on earth made the bread today?" I ran into the kitchen and was about to clobber him with a rolling pin. "This is the last time I ever make tortillas for this family. You think it is so easy? Why don't you try making them and having people gag on them and laughing in your face?" "No, Tita is not visiting us from Santa Fe. Why do you ask such a silly question? Our older married sister Tita makes tortillas that you could get cravings for." What I failed to notice during my ranting and raving was that the entire familia, now seated at the table, each holding a tortilla, was suddenly now able to bend and to wrap, encircle and entwine los frijoles, my tortillas, thanks to him, were now divine. To bend and to wrap those delectable frijoles, tortillas by Tila were now up for parole. Parole? It rhymes? You think it is so easy? Why don't you try writing a song about beans and tortillas and having people gag on it and laughing in your face? Well, they sent me to boarding school. Mama was weary of all the traveling in the wagon every day. Now that the boys were older, Papa didn't rely on her help working in the fields. She could stay home now and take over the household duties that had taken me much too long to master. We didn't get along. My best friend Lila's parents talked her into letting me go. I went. Tila, ándale. You and your father still have to go and get Lile and Ranchitos. Brush your hair. Let me see your teeth. Your nails. Oh, Tila, you are 14 years old. Don't you wash your hands after you pull the weeds? Your father put the trunk in the wagon. Take these bags. Your lunches are in this one. Your suppers are in that one. Oh, Tila, you didn't finish eating your breakfast. No, it's not too early to eat. Take these apples. Go. Right, coming! We were on our way, and the sun wasn't even up yet. My father drove me and my friend Lile Duran a 41-mile journey to catch the train. The chili line, as they called it, made a stop in Ojo Caliente. Once we boarded, it had to make 6 more stops until we reached our last stop at Lamy, which was as close as we could get to the school in Santa Fe. I'm so grateful for the food Mama sent with us. Needless to say, we didn't come home for the weekends. Thank you for the food. I wish I had been good. Thank you for the dresses. I will clean up my messes. I'm grateful for these sturdy shoes. I'll wear them and obey the rules. Mama may not believe me, but I know how to spell real well. She will not have to see me. I will not give her hello. My name? I'll give him the short version. Domitila MIera. How do you spell that? Lile, he can't spell that. Gringos. Place of residence? I thought it was here, Allison James School for Girls, Santa Fe. Oh, he means where I'm coming from. Placitas, a neighborhood in Taos where there is no high school yet. How do you spell that? Who's the teacher here? Taos, T-A-O-S, Taos. I told you I could spell. Tila, I often said to myself, watch the attitude, hold your tongue, and when you're in the cafeteria, no more stealing balls of peanut butter. I know, you never had it at home in Taos, but if you keep hiding it in your bloomers, they will mistake it for something else. One of those balls will fall on the floor on the way to your room. Don't be on a shishi. Be good, show Lile and the other girls while you are learning to crochet and to knit and to multiply your numbers while you do your algebra. Ugh. What a good MIera girl from Taos you are. You are not with your little brother Victor. Sometimes my conscience won't leave me alone. Cállate, I tell that voice inside my head. Cállate, I have no choice but to hear those words instead. Behave now, be brave now, am I allowed no fun? Be on your guard, work hard, the school year's just begun. Cállate, silencio, let's not get the rumors. Cállate, silencio, don't hide food in the bloomers, don't hide food in the bloomers. So, I shaped up, kept my mouth closed more often, and that voice inside my head became quieter. It was muy hard. I only ate peanut butter in the cafeteria at mealtime, and there was no more. I probably shouldn't tell you all the bad things I accomplished without my brother Victor's help. My grandchildren and their children are listening. It was very hard for esta mashishi MIera to reform. Mischief maker, peanut butter thief. Thief? No. Your grandmother Tila was a saint. And to prove it, you see this dollar bill? Mrs. Blanche Shelley became my favorite teacher there, and I was one of her best students. We wrote to each other for many years after I left the school, and every year for Christmas, she and her husband Wilson sent me a $1 bill. You couldn't buy many things with $1 back then. I may have bought peanut butter. 1917. Many countries in the world were at war with each other. Our country, the United States, joined the Allies, Britain, France, and Russia in April, a month before I came home from the summer for school for the summer in Santa Fe. My good friend MIera Trujillo's brother Juan Manuel, and many other men between the ages of 18 and 45 registered for the draft in May. Their father, Rafael, died in January. Because Juan Manuel was the oldest son, he needed to care for his mother. He was drafted into the infantry anyway, and by the time he was called to serve and was on his way to be stationed at Fort Bliss in El Paso, Texas, the war ended. His service was no longer needed. Why am am I telling you this? If you were 15 years old and living a 2-day journey away by train and by wagon when people a little older than you are going away to war, you would want to stay home too. No, it wasn't because Pancho Villa and his banditos raided the border town. That was too far away from Santa Fe. I wasn't worried about that. This letter from home is what worried me. Mi querida, your brother's 1-year-old daughter, Evangelina, died soon after you left to school. A few weeks later, Pilar gave birth to a healthy son. The new baby is doing well. I know that you would want to be there to comfort your brother, Moises, and his wife. Not to worry. Continue with your studies. Be good. Write to me, Mama. This brother died from typhoid fever the next year. The same brother I was angry with for calling my tortillas crackers when I was the 10-year-old family bread maker. The same brother. The new baby's name? Moises. I'm sorry that I was so mad at you for feeling so angry with me. I acted my age, but then you had no clue. Neither of us could appease. If I had been able to see through the years, I might have avoided this flowing of tears. Caught up in the moment of critical comments, of 10-year-old anger and typical torrents. Home, 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 I want to be home. Home, Tila will stay. Home, home, she wants to be home. If I had been able to see through my fears, I might have then noticed that you weren't sincere. Caught up in your moment of languishing hunger, my anger responded. Is it any wonder that home, 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 I want to be home? Home, Tila will stay. Home, home, she wants to be home. She longs to be home. Back to the Great War, which we didn't know would be the first of 2 world wars. As it was drawing to a close, another devastating event occurred, and 2 wonderful things also happened, thank goodness. Which one do you want to hear about first? The bad thing? Then listen to this. The Spanish Flu Epidemic, La Influenza Española of 1918 to 1919 started. 20 million people died across the globe. 500,000 died in our country, several thousands in our state, and hundreds died in Taos County. It reached New Mexico in the fall of 1918, and by October, all the schools, the theaters, and the churches had to be closed. You couldn't even go to the wake of your family members, friends, or neighbors. And sometimes familia lost more than one in their household. The dead had to be buried soon after they died. Then, in 1919, the horrible virus disappeared as suddenly as it appeared. We could now gather in groups of more than 5 people at a time. And we did, because first wonderful thing that happened 3 years before. Juan in Santa Fe at the boarding school, I was trying to learn some more. Missionaries from la Iglesia de Jesucristo de los Santos de los Últimos Días, the Latter-day Saints, arrived in Taos and began to hold meetings, teaching 125 investigators. The Book of Mormon, El Libro de Mormon, was now printed in our language. I wasn't there, but heard about the comforting teachings and literature that was being distributed. Los misioneros were there when our country got involved in the Great World War. Now we had problems to resolve. Fathers, sons, and brothers left their families to fight. Would they come home safely with their loved ones reunite? The missionaries were there throughout the epidemic. Tauseños lost family. How could we not panic? Children and babies, sisters and brothers, wives and husbands, mothers and fathers. Is it any wonder that the teachings of the Church of Jesus Christ and Latter-day Saints about temples and being bound with your family and loved ones after we die was a comfort after the devastating losses of the war and of the epidemic? The missionaries organized branches and held meetings in some of the schoolhouses in the little communities surrounding Taos. Amada, this morning I heard one of those meetings is tonight at the school by your house. Can you go? Come with me. I'll leave my house at 6. Walk back here and we can walk over together. See if your old brother Juan Manuel can go too. Juan Manuel was 26 years old, 9 years older than me, and not married yet. The Trujillo family lived in an hacienda and owned a dance hall in Ranchitos. He played the violin, the guitar, and the piano. He had his own horse and buggy. Before he was drafted, he helped to build the dam at the Cimarron River to create Eagle Nest Lake for the farmers and the ranchers to use the water. He had a novia, a girlfriend. That didn't stop me from inviting him to come with us. I could still flirt with him, couldn't I? So he came with us to the meetings sometimes. His sister Amada and I felt and later knew that the teachings we heard about the restoration of the gospel of Jesus Christ as taught by elders Cano and Hamor were the truth. Even though missionaries had been in the area for over 2 years, I was the first to be baptized and Amada was the second. That October 28, 1919, the river was cold. My heart warm. I wish it had been summertime, for the river now is much colder. Her brother wants to marry me, even though he is 9 years older. It won't hurt him to join this church. If not, then I'll refuse to be his wife, to share his life until we die. What's the use? Oh, Juan Manuel, can you not tell? Eternal marriage is true, but until you end falling into the water. Do not be sick, we can't afford. Till death do us part, our mother. Oh, Juan Manuel, did you not think eternal marriage is true? But until you bend or not consent to ride in a carriage with you, until you bend or not consent to ride in the carriage with you, the stubborn man promised me he would get baptized. I believed him and became Mrs. J.M. Trujillo in August of 1919, and that was the second wonderful thing that happened. Juan Manuel, you are so stubborn. I married you in August. I joined the church 3 months later with your sister, my mother, my father, my brothers Eliseo, Lino, Santiago, Victor the next July, my sister Jacinta and her husband Francisco in August. You gave me your word you would join the church too. You know how long it took them to do that? 3 years. 3 años. Why? The life of the wife, Senor J.M. Trujillo, is not what I thought it would be. Is it better or worse? You won't learn in this verse. To start herding sheep now? Let's see. You're a man of few words, but I can infer that you're joining a church will now wait. And I will hold on to your promise for love, expecting a child. See my waist? In the fall of the market, you play a part in the shearing of wool in the spring. To assume you can go takes me off the hook. When I see you at all, say something. Do you fear commitment? Do you fear cold water? I give you my best, now I clean. I'll help with your mother, my MIera daughter, give you the time that you need. In the fall off to market, will you play a part in the shearing of wool in the spring? To assume you can cook takes me off the hook. Will I see you at all? Say something. I'll help with your mother. I might bear a daughter. I'll give you the time that you need. Maria Magdalena was born in August of 1920, a year after he and I married. She was a beautiful baby with black hair, very dark eyes. The winter was harsh, temperatures unforgiving. There were few doctors and no hospital. Antibiotics weren't invented until the early 1930s, so if you got an infection and your body couldn't fight it off. Magdalena died from whooping cough the next April, living only 8.5 months. My first baby. We buried her next to her grandfather, Rafael Trujillo. Sometimes things like this move you closer to God, that He would join His church was surely what I thought. But no, He did not. No, He did not. My way continues on. Yes, no, He did not. And Magdalena became a dream and a longing. For Salt Lake City was 600 miles away, and our only means of transportation was the horse and the buggy. It would be 4 more decades until we owned a motor vehicle. By that time, a temple in Mesa, Arizona was built, and some of the sessions were held in our Spanish language. Mesa is still over 500 miles away. I will tell you more about going there later. The church meetings at the neighborhood schoolhouses continued, and the Taos branch of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints was organized in October 1920 by the president of the Mexican mission, Ray L. Pratt. This was done so the members could continue with their Sunday school meetings during the cold winter months when most of the missionaries moved to warmer climates. The mission office is in El Paso, Texas, where it is much warmer in the winter. In May of 1922, our new baby boy, Rafael, named after my husband's father, was 3 months old and healthy. It was either because my husband was relieved to have a healthy son, or the shearing season was over, or the river in Ranchitos was warmer. I believe the missionaries returning from El Paso. Who knows? Trujillo, as I now called him, announced he was willing to enter the waters of baptism. Trujillo, Trujillo, it's suddenly clear. You said now the words I've wanted to hear. El Espíritu Santo's been working on you. You're saying El Libro de Mormon is true. We'll gather our family, we'll gather our friends, go down to the river and shout our events. You said now the words we wanted to hear. So praise the Lord, wait no more, we're of good cheer. Trujillo, Trujillo, it's suddenly clear. You said now the words we wanted to hear. Trujillo, they've called you to be Sunday school superintendent? It's 1925, you've been a member 3 years now, you'll do a good job. I support you. A few years later, he accepted the call to be the branch president. 17 years later, serves him right. He was released from that calling. The life of this wife, Presidente Trujillo, is not what I thought it would be. It's far better than worse. You will learn in this verse. We're donating land now. Let's see. There's plenty of space over there for 3 rooms of adobe and plaster to build. With elders and members all helping, we'll soon have a beautiful chapel to fill. In 1935, the 3-room adobe chapel was completed next to our home in the Placitas neighborhood. It had a congregation room with wooden pews and a platform stage. It also had 2 small classrooms in the back, which were the kitchen and the bedroom for the missionaries who were like my sons. My home was like their home away from home. I fed them our traditional foods, including my mouth-watering and very soft tortillas. And chiles so spicy hot they baked for Mercy and a cup of water after taking the first bite. I also taught them a few spicy words in Spanish, not telling them what they really meant. They giggled when they innocently spoke those words to others. Oh, the antics without my brother Victor's help. I had the privilege to host his general authorities visiting our branch in Taos, including Apostles Heber J. Grant and George Albert Smith. And in October of 1951, the presidents of what were now the Spanish American Mission and the Western States Mission met with both branches and told us that a new and bigger chapel would be built. A separate branch had been created for the Anglo members in Taos, but now we were going to meet together. Both Women's Relief Society organizations work together to raise money with our many worthwhile projects, including bazaars, where we sold handmade crafts that we knitted, crocheted, sewed, or embroidered. We baked breads, cookies, pies, tortillas, and candies, and sold them too. Have you ever tasted fruit pie? It's delicious. I know, it could be dangerous the day after, but if you're willing to risk it, to make you one. Do you need to raise money? Have that Tausenia teach you how to make our enchiladas, empanadas, tortillas, beans, and chile, empanadas, enchiladas, tacos, and pozole, and serve that at your fundraising dinner, like the ones we used to have. But don't put the pinto beans in the chile, just the pork. Keep them separate. That's our way, and it's the right way. Tamales take too long to make. Save them for Christmas time, along with empanadas, which I only put in that song because they rhyme with enchiladas. I digress. Many times we get a group of members and missionaries who donated money and labor to help with the construction. This new building had an apartment in the basement where the missionaries lived, and a baptismal font on the main floor right next to the big kitchen. You could now be baptized indoors any time of year in heated water. I'm grateful Trujillo didn't know this would eventually happen. Or he may have waited 30 years to join the church instead. I'll just read. Let me start again. I will take you back to the late 1920s now. Because my husband, I've only told you about our first two children, Madalena and Rafael, or Ralph as we called him. I'm going to wait for the music to begin. The husband and I had 8 more. You heard me right, 8 hijos más. Their names: Lula, Arthur, Levi, Nora, Tito, Jesse, Lorraine, and Marcia. I had my hands full, and my wash basins. Tito was a shepherd for a few of our early years of marriage. I followed him to Leadville, Colorado for a little while with our 3 children, and our 4th child was born there. I was wrong to think that it couldn't get any colder in the winter than it did in Taos. I struggled to keep the little ones healthy. Our family came back home to Taos when Levi was a few months old. In 1928, he was 9 months old and died in what should have been springtime. There may have been daffodils, was the sky clear, if birds had been singing, I didn't hear. I didn't smell lilacs or feel winter's thaw. It should not careful and don't hold on to what and who you hold dear, your world could also spin out of control. I'm grateful to have my family and the gospel of Jesus Christ, for without them, I might have stepped off the planet. Little did I know that for a few decades later, I would also lose my Lorraine, who was 12 years old when she came down with the rheumatic fever that affected her heart. She died during open heart surgery when she was 32 years old, leaving behind her husband and 3 children. Believe me, losing that child the 3rd time around wasn't any easier than the first or the second time. But life continues on. Following the shepherding years, Trujillo worked for Mr. Alvin Birch, who owned a store on the Taos Plaza. He also labored at Birch's camp, which had individual motel rooms. He tended the cabins and the grounds, which later were named the Adobe Wall. You know where it is? It's down the hill on Kit Carson Road on the left. During the Depression, the only money available was script. My husband and I bought things with it at Birch's, which was like a merchant deal. Trujillo! This is today's shopping list. Would you please buy these things on your way home from work? Thank you. So, write it down. My hands are dirty. I'm making queso, cheese. The paper and pencil are on the secretary desk. A fancy piece of furniture. Are you ready? Oranges, macaroni, flour, 3 large heads of cabbage. No, the heads in the garden are not big enough, and I'm making chow chow en la mañana. One of the Anglo sisters gave me the recipe. I know cabbage is heavy, and you are on foot. Just buy 2 heads then. Okay, 1 head. Oranges, macaroni, flour, 1 large head of cabbage. I'm flexible, so I'll just add more green tomatoes and onions from the garden. Oh no, not more onions. We get a lot of company, but I would like us to smell better than the pigs and the sheep do. In a moment, I will tell you how to get the sweet aroma when you make some chow chow. Chop tomatoes, chop the onions, add a few green chili peppers. Don't forget to chop the cabbage. Don't forget a single stem. Add the salt and mix together. Let it sit all through the night. Add the sugar and the spices. Vinegar to taste just right. Ralph, Arturo, chop more wood for the stove. Tito, help your brothers and bring it in. Jesse, hold the door open for them. Cook till tender, pack it tightly. Sterilize your jars and seal. If you have a Nora with small hands and wrists, then that's ideal. Let her scrub the mason jars while you chop and slice and peel. Don't let Nora out to the living room and refused to go. And when she did go, she went through one door of the adobe chapel next to our house and then went out the next door. Lula, go and find where she is hiding. Because you are 12 and she is only 7. Bring her back with a coat on and shoes and wipe her nose. She will be unhappy. Don't let her clobber you. The brothers and sisters thought that Nora was their father's favorite because when he came home from work at Birch's, she always got one of the delicious apples from where he worked first. He proved 13 varieties of apples at home, but these were better. One day, Trujillo managed to buy a bicycle. It was a beautiful orange color, fitted with a light and a fork with springs, but it was a girl's bike. Tito! Why are you riding that bike? Your father gave it to Nora. She doesn't pay attention to it. Well, ask her if you can ride it. It's a girl's bike, you know. You don't care? Fine. Take it over. Nora was shy and wasn't into the type of mischief that Tito and Lorraine were into, like burying a cat or throwing fish into the family well. Lorraine, take the bucket and go and draw water from the well. If that trout shows up in the bucket again, I will make you and Tito eat it raw. Guts and all. I was kidding. At home, kids took turns washing dishes, sorting the pinto beans by putting the good ones into an aluminum pan and throwing away the rocks and whatever else was mixed in with the beans that wasn't the bean. They washed dirty diapers, ironed, chopped wood, brought water from the well, ideally without the fish swimming around in the bucket. On wash day, we built a fire outside to heat the water for the maid diaper washer. In the summer, they weeded the garden. Jesse, Lorraine, take the basket to the cook and bring in the eggs. Show Marcia how to do it. She's not too little. Don't let the rooster scare her. Jesse, if you put eggs in your pockets again, you will be washing your own clothes. I couldn't afford to let our kids eat at the lunchroom at school, so they carried tortilla sandwiches with hamburger and apples in a metal tin. The kids were sometimes called Mexican greasers because their father had been a shepherd. Many shepherds had come to New Mexico directly from Mexico, but our family had been in Taos a couple of centuries. We weren't depressed during the Great Depression. There was no shame in being a child of a shepherd. We weren't ashamed to have no car. We had no indoor plumbing. We knew it wasn't very far until they would be coming. We cooked and baked our daily food with a blackwood burning stove. Linoleum floor worn to the wood. We washed and scrubbed with love. Scrubbed with love. Petticoats made from the flower sap. I Cloroxed out the printing. My daughters never felt the lack to which others might have been hinting. Our cozy and warm adobe house was only $8 rent. To live our life of love in Taos was clearly money well spent. Money well spent. These children of a shepherd felt no shame. These children of our shepherd felt no shame. So, don't be ashamed of how you were raised. Your parents did the best they knew how. Eat your mother's chow chow. It took her hours to chop those cabbages. Don't be ashamed of who you are either. Unless you're a troublemaker, then you shouldn't be ashamed of yourself. Your parents did the best they could. Don't keep going this on. So, don't be lazy. Ralph, can you stop calling the tortillas that Lula is making crackers? Where have I heard that before? When Nora made the tortillas, he wouldn't eat them either because he didn't believe she washed her hands before kneading the dough. She washed tubs and tubs of jars when I did the canning. Her hands would have been clean during the summertime. I did. Lula! Nora, please clear the supper table and wash the dishes. If you want to go to the dance tomorrow night, your brother Arthur must take you. He will only take you if you iron his shirts and his handkerchiefs. So have that done by tomorrow night. And be nice to him. Your father and I are going to the movies now. Again. Let Marcia play with the top, but not with the marbles. She choked on one the other day. Take me away to the movies. To tonight, let us go. I don't even know how we'll get to the theater in time for the show. Clark Gable, James Stewart are calling to me. Elizabeth Taylor and Vivian Lee. Let us escape to the movies. To Rio tonight, let us go. I love when we go to the movies. It's one thing I'll never outgrow. I wash and I clean and I cook so. Our children are careful, I know. How green was my valley, Philadelphia story. Fantasia in the cartoon category. Take me away to the movies. Rio tonight, let us go. Vamos a ir al cine. Rio tonight, let us go. He and I went on the weekends. My brother Victor and his wife Marina came with us to the plaza downtown where the theater is. We'd watch a 10-minute newsreel first, which kept us up to date on the Second World War, which was now in full swing. Then they'd show a short cartoon. My favorites were with Bugs Bunny and Donald Duck. The feature films and the cartoons helped us to forget about the worries of the world events we witnessed in the newsreel. After the Japanese bombed Pearl Harbor in December of 1941, and our country entered the war, our lives changed drastically. Ralph joined the Marines. Arthur enlisted in the Navy. They both returned home alive after the war ended. My nephew, Moises, was a prisoner during the Bataan Death March in the Philippines. My other nephew, Jaime, is still missing in action. My Trujillo was an army veteran, was handy at carpentry, and in 1942 was hired to work for the Manhattan Project in the secret city of Los Alamos, 64 miles southwest of Taos. He built government laboratory buildings, barracks for the military, police, engineers, and fabricators. What is a fabricator? I don't know. I will look it up. He built apartment housing for the civilian scientists and their families from all over the world. None of the builders or their families knew that the atomic bomb was being created. The wives and families of the engineers and scientists were not told what their husbands and fathers were making a living. Post office box 1663, New Mexico. The town was under lock and key. Los Alamos, top secret, was not on any map. 5,000 with the same address. This was no tourist trap. The Pajarito Plateau was often called the hill where Oppenheimer led the work that would destroy and kill. I don't know what I think of this, but we were none the wiser. My carpenter with mouths to feed was taken by surprise here. At post office box 1663, post office box 1663. At first, Trujillo came home by train on the weekends, but eventually the rest of us who were still at home moved there too. We were issued passes and IDs to show the guards at the gate, allowing us to enter and exit the city. To keep the project's goal a secret, the scientists and their wives told us locals that Los Alamos was making electric rockets. We learned the truth August 6th, 1945, when Little Boy, the first atomic bomb, dropped on Hiroshima. After the Japanese refused to surrender, Fat Man dropped on Nagasaki. Both bombings and their aftermath killed close to 200,000 Japanese civilians. I didn't need to look that one up. How could I forget that number? Later, we learned that 3 weeks before the bombings in Japan, the first nuclear test occurred at the Trinity site, 250 miles south of us. Army officials said it was just an ammunition explosion, despite the raining ash. Close to 30,000 residents of nearby Tularosa getting rare forms of cancer said otherwise. At the beginning of the war, German physicists fled to the United States and told our President Roosevelt that the Nazi Germany was creating a nuclear bomb. That is why these deadly nuclear weapons had to be created in a hurry. Germany had already surrendered May 1945 after Hitler committed suicide. Following Nagasaki, Japan surrendered, and World War II soon came to an end. War is ugly. I will say it again. War is ugly. Now that it was over, Ralph was discharged from the Marines, came home, and ate tortillas no matter who made them. Arthur came home from serving in the Navy and had to iron his own shirts and handkerchiefs because Lorraine wasn't old enough to go to the dances, and Nora was too shy to go without Lula, who was now married. Tito joined the National Guard. The Mormon missionaries returned and lived next door in the 2 rooms behind the chapel next to our house. Trujillo resumed working for Mr. Birch and bought a used dark green 1941 International pickup. None of us knew how to drive, but Tito and Jesse learned fast. But when their father learned, I had to stand by the side of the road when he came home for lunch and the pickup he took to pick up his lunch as Trujillo was learning to drive. The 3/4 ton and shook as it had quite a punch. I'm so glad that my viejo's alive. He had a hard time making it come to a stop, so I stood by the road with his food. Then he rolled down the window and let the bag drop. When I tossed it with my aim, that was good. Rolled down the window and let the bag drop. When I tossed it with my aim, that was good. And don't ask me if I ever learned how to drive. You think I really would tell? Don't ask any family how Tila survived. Don't ask how the garden fence fell. Don't ask any family how Tila survived. Don't ask how the garden fence fell. Some might tell you that I tried to drive the pickup one time, that I put it into gear, stepped on the gas, and took down some fence. But you didn't hear it from me. Don't tell me you didn't knock something over when you tried to learn. But I'm grateful my Trujillo is handy with carpentry and repairs. It was good to be back home in Taos now. Now that we had a truck, we could go to the movies more often. And we did. Tonight, we're going to see It's a Wonderful Life. It is, isn't that? Come with us. We can all pile into the cab. Hold on. Don't worry, I'm not going to drive. Jesse, Lorraine, it's time to wake up. Nora, please get Murset dressed. Tito, make sure your driver's license is in your wallet and load the suitcases. Everyone, grab your pillows and your blankets and load them in the back of the truck. Come on, Mesa is 11 hours away from here. It was November 2nd, 1948. Almost 30 years after we got married and joined the church, and I had waited long enough. Our reason for not getting to the temple was we didn't have a way to get there. Now, we had a truck. Gasoline was no longer rationed now that the war was over. Trujillo didn't want to leave work and the farm animals and wooden drivers to Arizona. He was nice enough to make a canvas canopy over the back of the truck so that the kids could ride back there. And he gave us money for gasoline and hamburgers and Cracker Jack. What? We drive? Are you kidding? I gave up driving right after I took out that fence. Trujillo, don't worry. Tito is more than pleased to drive us, and I am happy to let him. I am not happy that my husband doesn't want to get his temple endowment and get sealed to me. That is what you said. Who said you had to be perfect in order to get in? When did I say I was perfect? That is not what I said. They would let us stay at the Mesona Hall. Victor stayed there when he went to the temple last month. The church owns it, and they let people from Mexico who are going to the temple stay there. I know, we are not Mexicano. Don't worry, they will let us stay. Do you want to know what I wrote to him in the ledger? Oh, I hadn't told you about the ledger. Sometimes Trujillo went to Birch's Mercado on the way home from work. And one day, he brought home a ledger so that we could keep track of our expenses and purchases. I don't know who started it, but we also used it to write messages to each other. Mostly to tell each other off. I know, it was nice that he made the back of the truck comfortable for the kids to ride back there, but this is what I wrote to him. got over it 5 years later when he changed his mind. In 1952, I went back to the Mesa Temple with him and with some of our kids, and we were all sealed together, and to Madalena and Levi, who died as babies. Praise the Lord. Now, you promised you won't tell. Another reason the kids and I went to Mesa that first time was because their brother Arthur was serving in the Spanish American mission, and we missed him. Wanted to visit. Nowadays, it's against the rules to go and visit your child, your brother, or your sister while they are serving their mission. I admit, it was against the rules then too, but what are you going to do? Turn me in? Good luck with that. I've been gone since 1971. Do you remember how I told you that after the war, the missionaries returned and lived in the 2 rooms behind the chapel next to our house? One of them was named Elder Chatwin. How do I remember his name? Well, in the ledger, I wrote down the names of the missionaries who lived next door while they were serving in Taos. But this one became my son-in-law. Which daughter of mine did he marry? Let me tell you the story. On the living room wall was the photo of my daughters, Lula, who was now married, Nora in San Francisco at a candy factory, Lorraine, a young teen, and 8-year-old Marcia. Don't look at Lorraine, she's too young for you. See this one on the right, in California making chocolate. I want her to come home. Please write a letter that her mother wants her home. That is Nora. This is Nora. On the living room wall was the photo of my daughter. Elder Chatwin was a good missionary and a hard worker. He had wavy hair, hazel eyes, loved chocolate, and had a fiancée of 5 years back in Utah. So of course I had to pay the matchmaker. Before his mission, he was in the Navy. When he got very sick from drinking water from the river, we took care of him in our home for a few weeks, and by that time Nora was home and helped us. The mission president had him go to the mission office in El Paso to convalesce, but it was so close to the end of Elder Chatwin's mission, but he sent him home a little while after being there. Wally, his first name, broke off the engagement with his fiancée and married my Nora in the temple in Salt Lake City. It was scandalous for 2 reasons. One, he married a Mexican, a curse, as his relatives called it. And 2, he broke off the engagement once he got back home. Well, I didn't think we were that bad. You know, they called us a curse. Oh, well, I spent money. And that is why Trujillo brought home the ledger. He accused me of cashing in 2 of the 5 savings bonds because he could only find 3 of them. This is what I wrote to him. Judge not, that ye be not judging. You could end up going to a very hot place for judging me falsely. He later found them. I don't know where, he wouldn't tell me. The ledger was also where I wrote down the important events. Marriages, births, deaths. I also wrote down those favorite recipes that I sent you earlier. Trujillo drew a map of our property and wrote down a few remedies for trouble sermons, like this one. If people pelt you with hard words, read the 15th chapter of John. If the world hate you, ye know that it hated me before it hated you. And this one. If the stovepipe has fallen chapter of James, the trying of your faith with patience. And this one, if you pound your finger and feel like it's necessary to do a little cussing, just read the third commandment, thou shalt not take the name of the Lord thy God in vain. I bet you'd like to know how much things cost back then. I just happened to keep a record. In 1936, our first washing machine, $36.49. Our radio, $249. Heel's not happy, he can't play it. Once do I say, Uro, you are stubborn, everything has a limit. The radio plays all day and it's tiring. He says, when you're away, I don't have to play it to cover up your nagging. Waffle iron, $29. Silverware, $105. Two twin beds and mattresses, $205. Trujillo bought a power saw, $300. Then I bought my dishes, my Fiesta ware. August 20th, 1941, $69. First payment, $25. Balance, $44.31. Trujillo wrote, she forgot the Kirby, $125. The Maytag, $203. Now you know the price we paid for modern conveniences. So, on special occasions, while we cheerfully listen to the radio, I served his waffles on the Fiesta-ware dishes, and he ate them with a fancy fork and knife on the real nice table he made with the power saw. I vacuumed up his mess afterwards and washed our clothes in the Maytag, and we each went to sleep on a separate twin mattress bed. And I really we bought those for the kids. But if I die before I buy anything else, and before I am old, which I hope I don't, whoever has taken good care of Dad and me will be entitled to our job. I think Trujillo is going to be hard to handle. Be sure and make him take a bath at least twice a week. Buy a nice cane for him so he doesn't fall and hurt himself. And don't let him get married if I die before he does. Don't let him stay home from church. Por favor, drive him to the temple. I'll leave you for money for hamburgers. Since I've told you what my name was, I'm glad that you've received me. Our ancestors came from Spain, thus his name will always please me. As compelling as my story sounds, I'm thrilled to say he's come around. Our names from him live off the tongue, for better spoken than sung. Juan Manuel y María Domitila MIera Domitila Trujillo. Somos los Trujillo. So, you've now heard some of my stories, my tales. If I hadn't written anything down about my life before I left, my granddaughter, La Carolina, would be telling you a bunch of baloney about me right now. So go home now, safely, find a notebook and a good pen. Start writing. Your life is more interesting than you think it is. Your grandchildren will love you for it, and your loved ones here on the other